do it.
Welcome, everyone. Melissa and Melissa here. Today, we're going to lean into why do we do this work? Why do we work on being as well in our body, in our mind, in our spirit as we can be? Why do we do that? What difference does it make? What is the benefit? And really talking about, what it looks like to stay kind of stuck, but then doing the work and leaning into our best selves. What does that look like? And being really accountable for that work.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was. I don't know if you saw, I put up a post actually last week, and it was talking about just getting through, right? Like just getting through the day, getting through the week, getting through the month, whatever, just getting through life. And I think a lot of folks do. And I can clearly actually remember a time when I did, right? Felt crappy a lot of the time. You're just trying to get through the end of your day. And then, most folks sit down and watch some sort of mindless TV to just tune out, or they grab a drink or some sort of food that they're hooked on, something to make them feel better, and then they start the next day and go through it again, right? And I think if you are sitting there thinking, I don't even know where to start, this is the thing, you guys, is it's a process, right? The work doesn't happen in one fell swoop, and it's not quick. If you're looking for a quick fix, you've been trying that, right? You've been trying to find it in the bottom of a bottle or in a television show or in a food or in a drug, and that's not working. And so if you really want to have a life that feels good and that feels like I'm enjoying being here, it's this building these small habits that change how you feel and healing. You have to heal the emotional trauma, you have to heal the physical damage, and then you truly will be like, okay, I don't feel like crap every day when I wake up, right? And the cool part, though, I think a lot of folks don't understand, if I heal these two components, how is that going to equate to how I feel about my job or how I feel about my spouse or whatever?
Yeah.
And I think what you start to realize is, as you're healing those things, you're going to realize maybe you deserve a better job, right? And you move towards that. Or maybe you decide, you know what? I actually really like these pieces of what I do, so I can have gratitude for that. And you start to actually find some joy in the mundane, because you know what? If you're living right now for like just the big next exciting thing, which I think a lot of people do, um, you know, you're not really in the present, first of all, right? And you're never going to feel good, because all those dopamine hits are never going to be sustainable, right? So I think the key is understanding that, the work comes from like leaning in and then really getting clarity on like what feels not good, right? If you're waking up feeling puffy every day, guys, there's a root problem under there. If you've got constant migraines, there is a root problem in there. You're not sleeping, you feel groggy all the time. Like there's something going on. Your body's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And likely it's a physical and emotional healing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you went through chronic sickness too, Melissa,
I
right?
was just gonna say, I remember so vividly. I mean, I was in a group call with other peers right before we hopped on together, and just kind of reviewing the whole. I was sick for 20 years, where just getting out of bed was a, a masterpiece, literally. And to build something, like to build a business or to, really even be present for my family, it didn't happen. I mean, I did the best I could, but then looking at that in contrast of what I get to experience now, there's no way when I was so sick that I could have ever even had the energy or the brain process to be able to go, okay, This is what I want to do. This is my contribution to the world. This is how I want to help others. There was nothing there. I was trying to figure out how in the world I was going to get from the bed to the bathroom by myself without having somebody help me, or how I was going to get the laundry done that day because there was a lot and nobody was home. So it was me and I had to not fall. And, to have the extra, what I needed to build anything, it just wasn't there. Whereas
I,
now, as a well person, someone who's
yeah,
recovered and continues to recover, like this isn't a stopping game. It becomes a way of life. It's like, how do I be my best and nourish me every day?
and I think if folks are watching this going like, I just can't, like, there's no shame if right now you're feeling like you were saying, Melissa, right? Like, how do I get from here to here? And I think there's a real piece for folks to understand so that they can give themselves a break, but then know that, you have two people here that can guide you. And how do you get to those places where you feel like, wait, I want to, feel like I can get up and even go volunteer at my kids' school, right? Like maybe what people are thinking of are not, the kind of things that you and I do, and that's fine, but
Mhm.
maybe they are,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I think I see it time and time again when I'm, coaching people in one of my businesses and they have these aspirations and then they just can't connect the dots. But I will say this, you
Mhm.
have to be willing to do the work, you guys. That's the difference. The difference between the people that do and do not is the level of accountability and the willingness to lean in, right? And I just was saying to Melissa before we hopped on, you know, I've shared many times that she's been helping me with my physical healing. Thank you, Melissa. And that has, of course, translated into a lot of emotional stuff, which has been massive. And but if she was helping me and, every time we're running labs, nothing's changing, or every time she talks to me, I'm feeling gross. But then, I'm telling her that I'm eating candy all day or drinking alcohol every day. Like, of course, she's going to be like, but how badly do you want to feel better then?
Mhm.
Right. And I think it's, like I know sometimes we talk to people and they have like something chronic going on. And I'll be like, the first thing you need to do is just cut out gluten. And they'll be like, but I love bread. It's like, well, but do you love bread more than you love you? That like it's like the silliest thing to me. It's like if someone's giving you a roadmap of how we get there, then you have to be then willing to start to take those steps, right? And that's really a huge thing, you guys. And I think that's what Melissa and I really want to convey is that it's possible for you. So that's the
Mhm.
great news. But then the second piece is you've got to be willing to really do the work, lean in and be accountable, right? Because no one can do that for you.
Mm. I want to say something about that, if I may. Is
Yeah.
no one can do it for you. Um, I think this is like, I'm just thinking of a couple different conversations that I've had very, very recently. Is like when potential clients come in and we're having an amazing conversation around what this could look like and could feel like to be well. And I'm sure you've maybe done some thinking and dreaming about this too in your own world. But what are you looking for? Are you looking for somebody to fix you, or are you looking for someone to walk along beside you, help you understand what's sideways in your body, and actually walk with you and help you fix it yourself?
Yeah. Yep, that's it, right? Because I think what we have to learn is any sort of long-term sustainability, people can, you know, give you a boost. They can certainly help support you in your journey, right? But yeah, like you can't come to my house and make sure that I'm eating the right things every day or taking my supplements or and
Mhm.
by the way, you guys, we're assuming it's like adults watching this, like you guys shouldn't need that kind of handholding, right? But it is if you want a different quality of being, then yeah, you have to be willing to say, you know what, I'm willing to be coachable
Mhm.
and I'm going to actually do what's being asked of me because it's for me, right? you asking someone to do something isn't because it's serving you, it's because you want to see them feel better, and this is how they're going to get there, right?
Right.
Um, like I know I like to give clients little homework sometimes, because some of the processing needs to happen kind of in between meetings, right? And if we get on and they're just consistently not doing it, then it's like, well, like, what's going on here? What is it about this? And sometimes it's that they need a different form of it, which is fine. But if they're just not doing any of the work, it's like, but do you actually want to feel better, or do you want me to attend your pity party? Because I'm not accepting invitations to those, right? So if you want to feel better, then all right, we got to lean in, we got to do it together. But yes, like I will throw the little rope ladder down, but you got to climb up it, right? So yeah, I think there's a huge piece around that. And I think sometimes people doubt if they can, but if you've got someone walking with you, like you said, of course you can. And I think what's powerful is if you listen to most people that are successful, they didn't have a very easy start. If you listen to most people that really enjoy their wellness, they typically were pretty sick at one point, right?
Yep.
I think some folks really take their wellness for granted, but I think for most folks, if you really listen to them, there's some sort of something historically that maybe they had to overcome, so that right there eradicates the idea of like, well, this person just kind of had it easy. It's like, no, it's not the case, but they're making a different choice around how they want to continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I think the empowering piece of that is that people can, right? Like if you
Exactly.
can, I can. I always think of Tony Robbins, right? I know you love him also, but his story is powerful because it's like, really difficult childhood, really difficult past. And now look at it, right? And then, he's gone to, become a very successful human figure and help a ton of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, it shows the power of, I want to heal so that I can help heal others.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But it is kind of like the analogy of putting your oxygen mask on first, right?
I love what you were saying about choice. Is sometimes when we're really sick, or even when we're just a little bit off, we forget that we have the power to change it. We have the power of choice to change that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we can lean into when we do some of this blue sky thinking, if you will. What do I want to happen? How do I want to show up in life? What do I want for myself?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that blue sky thinking. Yeah. It's funny. There's someone who will often kind of talk about, and I couldn't even tell you what it is that this person's trying to do because there's never really clarity around the ideas, but they're always kind of grandiose. And I'm always like, okay, so then like, what are you going to do to get there, right? And that's kind of the piece that's always fragmented because it's that mundane in between work
Yep.
that people try to avoid. But it's within that is where the healing happens,
Magic.
right? Yeah. Yeah. Like it is developing those daily disciplines, right? It is, showing up when you don't necessarily feel like it.
Yep.
Because you actually will start to learn to love that, right? Like I was laughing this morning, every Monday, try to, barring dance camp, as you know, because that makes life crazy for us, even though it's super fun. I love to start my week with a hot yoga class, and it's a very gentle practice. I mean, it's like I feel like I could walk in there in like my pajamas. Like it's like how I literally like enter the world every Monday. And but it's like it's such a key to how I start a week in a really successful way. And like a day like today, like it's rainy here, it's like kind of chilly. It's like a day like today, you're like, I'm like, I know how good I'm gonna feel. So I no longer battle myself about am I gonna get there? It's just like, no, this is what we do because we know how much better you feel after, right?
Exactly.
and the food choices, right? Like
Mhm.
everything. It's
All the
like
pieces.
compounds over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So, what is the one thing that you would like to leave everyone with around why do this work? Why really lean into being well and as well as possible? What is the benefit?
That you can love your life,
Mm.
right? So you're no longer just surviving, you're actually thriving.
And that can turn into tangibles pretty quickly.
Yes, absolutely, right? It can start to show up. I believe it starts to show up everywhere, right? But you really, you start with one and it starts to trickle. But I do believe that there is, you know, a lot of power in that. And again, don't you just want to feel good?
Mhm.
Like, I know so many people like a day like today, like, it's rainy. I just don't want to. Like, yeah, sure, it's not super pleasant to like walk out in it, but like, still excited for my day and what's ahead, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, you don't want to be the kind of, I always say you want to be the thermostat, not the barometer, right? You want to set the tone, not be like this.
Yeah.
I think that's so important, because especially if it's a person with anxiety, those are the kind of things that make them like, oh, everything that happens, they're so reactive.
Hmm.
So doing this work gets to that point where it's like, I don't need to react to every little thing, right? Just understand that, like, you still be having a good day, even if some challenging things have happened.
Yeah. Exactly. I love that. Well, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Melissa. I love our little chats.
Yeah.
We're getting back into the rhythm of doing these after the summer
Mhm.
has been here and gone. So we're excited to lean in. And if any of you have things that you really want us to talk about and lean into, please shoot us an email or drop something in the chat under this video. We love having ideas around this and being able to really share with you guys what you want to know.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. And you know where to find us if you want to team up with us so we can help you walk your walk.
Awesome. Enjoy your day. Bye.